Now raises questions about U.S. involvement in potential broader conflict. We want to welcome back into our program this morning Democratic Congressman Glenn Ivey of Maryland and a member of the Homeland Security Committee. Congressman, thanks for being with us this morning. Obviously, a lot of people, when they look at what happened yesterday in Israel and what is still happening this Sunday morning, have to be wondering about the security here in the U.S. We are hearing reports throughout the region that security is being increased amongst Jewish houses of worship and places of gather. Homeland Security obviously has been monitoring concern about lone wolf attacks. How worried should we be about what is happening right now in southern Israel and Hamas triggering somebody here domestically in the United States?
Well, I think we always have to be vigilant. I think Homeland Security and most of our intelligence and security forces have been on their toes, generally speaking, but especially now, because there is a chance that there could be some sort of spillover effect here in the United States or in Western Europe or around the world. But I think we're going to be in pretty good shape. I think the immediate concern is helping Israel get back on its feet after the attack yesterday.
One of the things that shocked everybody, in addition to the veracity of this attack, was the fact that there was not any apparent clue that it was going to happen beforehand. Are there questions to be asked in Congress right now about what the United States intelligence operations were doing as far as informing Israel about a possible threat?
Well, I think there's going to be a lot of review, certainly at the Israeli front, about their intelligence systems, because, as you just said, they didn't get any kind of information or heads up, apparently, that this might be coming. And certainly we have to review what our intelligence forces came up with as well. Hindsight's 20/20, but I think the immediate piece, though, yes, we need to review that. Yes, Israel does as well, but we really need to get up on the curve here with respect to what's happening with the retaliations that Israel's launching and how other their surrounding countries may respond.
Now, the president is obviously saying the United States is going to support Israel. You would imagine that's going to take the form of some kind of, financial military aid to bolster their security. However,
absolutely,
as they say, this could not come at a worse time on the Hill right now, because you don't have a Speaker of the House after what happened with Kevin McCarthy being ousted a couple of days ago. So is Congress in a position right now where they can move on any of this, or are you just frozen in the ice right now until this speakership question is settled?
Well, for military and foreign affairs, the executive takes the lead. So the president's already gotten out and made statements yesterday, and he's called Netanyahu, and I think we're moving forward on that in the right way. Congress needs to get going regardless of this, but one way or even before this, I think, it's up to the Republicans to pick a speaker as soon as possible so we can get back to work.
There was some talk that came out of the McCarthy world, was that former Speaker Nancy Pelosi had pledged some kind of Democratic support that would have kept McCarthy in that job. Had you heard about any of that? Were there any discussions on your Democratic side to step in and save Kevin McCarthy at the last moment?
I hadn't heard about that until I heard that from McCarthy. And by the way, I don't know that I've heard Ms. Pelosi confirm that yet.
She said it didn't happen.
Oh, well, yeah. There you go. And, really, we had a long track record with Kevin McCarthy anyway during his term as Speaker. I think, I'll just say it quickly this way. Democrats had concerns about their ability to trust statements that he made. There were many Republicans that had the same concerns. I don't recall ever seeing a speaker that had those kinds of concerns on both sides in Congress. And so I thought his demise was inevitable at that point.
We went to double-digit rounds of voting for a House Speaker back in January when Kevin McCarthy finally got the job. You and the Democratic caucus consistently voted for Hakeem Jeffries, your Democratic leader. Do you expect to do that again? And could we see another marathon round of voting once again?
I would think that we'll continue to vote for Hakeem Jeffries. I think he's done an outstanding job, and to the extent actually the House has gotten anything done, it's when Hakeem has stepped in, and we got the debt ceiling bill addressed, and then the government shutdown as well.
We've seen a lot of things lately, and that's a mouthful of things we've never seen before.
Yeah.
How out of the world of a possibility could it be that some Republicans might jump over to your side if they do not prefer Steve Scalise or Jim Jordan, that Hakeem Jeffries could theoretically maybe wind up as Speaker himself?
I mean, hope springs eternal, but my hunch is that the Republicans are going to try and find a way to come together behind one candidate and select a speaker. The real question is, how long is that going to take? I know they've been talking about trying to get it done on Wednesday, but now I'm hearing some in the Republican caucus say it could be weeks, and we really just can't afford that. We need to get a speaker in place so we can get back to work.
Well, let's talk about why it can't be afforded, and that comes down with a countdown clock right now. In order to get that continuing resolution to keep the government open last weekend, November 17th is now the date where the money will run out once again. Kevin McCarthy lost his job because he worked with you in the Democratic caucus to keep the government open. How sure are you that November 17th deadline is going to come and a shutdown is going to be unavoidable this time?
Well, I don't think Kevin McCarthy lost his job because he worked with us to keep the yeah. Well, that's what he said. But I think he had problems dating all the way back to when he first came in with the 15 votes. But, for example, just the statement there'd be no impeachment inquiry without a floor vote, and then the very next day he launches an impeachment inquiry without consulting the Democrats. That was a problem. The scenario with the debt ceiling was as well.
We got to wrap it. You have odds on whether or not we're going to be facing another deadline in November 17th?
I think we're certainly going to go up to the line. Whether the Republicans get their act together or not, we'll have to see.
Congressman Glenn Ivey, always a pleasure. We appreciate you coming in with us live this Sunday morning. We have much more to get to this morning.